Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's 2020 Government Affairs Candidate Forum. My name is Cody Sinclair. I'm a Chamber Board member and Chair of the Government Affairs Committee, and this evening I have the honor of serving as the moderator for the forum. I'd also like to introduce Dixie Johnson, CEO of the Chamber. We'll start out with a few reminders. Questions for candidates have been compiled by our Government Affairs Committee and will be asked only through me, the moderator. In accordance with WYO Theater's current guidelines, all forum attendees will be dismissed immediately following closing remarks and asked to leave the building. After being dismissed, if you wish to speak with a candidate, please do so outside of the building. Unfortunately, there are no concessions available this evening, so we'll try to keep things rolling tonight. Anytime you leave your seat, we ask that you return only to your original seat. Tonight's forum is being live streamed and recorded, and you can access the recording on the Chamber's YouTube channel. In an effort to minimize disruptions, we do ask that you stay through the entire forum duration and refrain from disruptions or outbursts. And so now's a good time, if you can, please silence your phones. We do encourage applause at the conclusion of each group of candidates, but not between questions or at the end of remarks. Face mask wearing is appreciated anytime you leave your seat and at the end of the forum. So now we'll get through a few of the procedures. Tonight's forum will be in this order: Sheridan County Conservation District, City of Sheridan Mayor, Sheridan County School District Number 1 Bighorn, City of Sheridan Council members, Northern Wyoming Community College District, and Sheridan County School District Number 2. Candidates will have a 2-minute intro, followed by questions with up to 1 minute to answer each question, and then a 2-minute closing. Chamber staff will operate the timer and will signal candidates when they have 30 seconds remaining. It's a pretty big sign this evening, as well as when you need to stop at the end of their time. And you'll also hear a signal for that time, when that time is up. To help with the flow this evening, if candidates would please enter from the far side of the stage and then exit the near side of the stage, that would help us all. And all questions, again, will be asked through me, the moderator, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start this evening with Sheridan County Conservation District, 2 positions. And this evening, candidates Bernie Borong and Stephanie Masters were not able to attend. So Emerson Scott, you have the mic and 2 minutes for an intro.
How about 1 minute?
1 minute is good.
Okay. As you can see, introduced as Emerson Scott. I am running for one of the rural seats on the Sheridan County Conservation District Board of Supervisors. I've served a little over 2 terms there now. I was appointed back in 2010. I think I've run a couple other times. Really enjoy the work on the Conservation District. I think we do a lot of good things. And we have some challenges, which is part of the fun of the work. One of the bigger projects we've taken on that I'm really enjoying is the Acme Power Plant. It's a long story, but we've taken ownership of it and begun the cleanup out there. That'll take a while. It's taking quite a bit of money. Most of the money is coming from DEQ and EPA. That will ultimately result in a clean space out there, and if we get the building cleaned out and find out it's structurally sound, we'll be finding a use for it in the future. That use is yet to be determined, and so I'd encourage you all to keep your eye on that and keep your eye on the scoping meetings and put some input into where you think that could take place in the future. One of the other projects that we do have been doing quite a bit of is helping with the, here I go with a blank, draw a blank for you, NRCS, in working on improving irrigation flows, outtakes, so that the water that's water rights that flow through the ditch can go and still help protect the river and the fishery within the river. And I think that's one of the bigger balances we have here in the county. We have a lot of recreation. We have ag, which is a cornerstone of our community and our county. And I think those two can coexist. And that's one of the things I look at on the commission or on the board about how to help both of those work alongside each other for the benefit of the community. And with that, I'll stop and take any questions. Thank you.
You ensure we have clean and abundant water in our streams that balances the need of agriculture as well as healthy fisheries.
Find as much money as we can. I mean, basically, it takes dollars to do those, and they're probably not cost effective if it's just for the ag. They are cost effective if you balance out the fishery, but those dollars are typically a match from the irrigation company, and the bulk of it is from other sources through the NRCS. And you know, with budget strains today and COVID, those are going to be tougher dollars probably to find in the future. But there's a big need, and I think that's one of the things we'll keep pushing.
Thank you. Our next question, how do you see the role of district changing as land uses in the county change with continued development?
That's a really good question. And we've struggled as a board with that. We have a lot of smaller land holdings today, you know, 5, 6, 10, 12 acres with lots of livestock on it. They need fence, they need water to protect the waterways, and those are really expensive. And one of the things we debate is, are we helping improve property value with federal dollars, except at the same time we got to do something to protect the streams. And it's the small acreages that are a pretty big conundrum for us.
Great, thank you. Final question here. With declining budgets, how do you propose to continue to fund the work of the Conservation District? Would you consider a mill levy to property taxes?
You want me to not get elected, right? If I say I want a mill levy? We are one of the few districts in the state that do not draw funding from a mill levy. So we depend solely on grants, typically government grants. We depend on donations. And one of the things we've been doing, and Carrie, our administrator, has done a superb job on, is leveraging this up with partners. And Nature Conservancy, Trout Unlimited, all kinds of different entities that have some funding. And so we know that we probably will not have mill levy, and we're working on finding other funding sources. And I think she's been doing a really good job of that.
Great, thank you. And now you have 2 minutes for your final statement, closing remarks.
I think I don't have much of a final statement, but I do appreciate being invited here, and thank you for the opportunity. And thank you again. That's about it.
Great. Please join me in thanking our Sheridan County Conservation District candidate, Emma Scott. I'll let you get situated for a second here. All right, we'll start this evening with a 2-minute introduction. Rich Bridger, you'll be first.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me here tonight. Briefly, I graduated from Sheridan High, and I have 2 associate's degrees at Sheridan College and a bachelor's from University of Wyoming. I'm the business manager for the Sheridan Recreation District, and in the summer I also operate the Kendrick Park Pool and the Kendrick Park Ice Cream Stand for the district. I'm married to my wife Pam for 34 years, and we have one daughter, Becky, who has just joined the Wyoming National Guard and is a graduate of Sheridan College. I served on school board for 12 years and was honored to be a Wyoming School Board Member of the Year in 2009. However, after 12 years and my daughter's graduation, I decided it was time to move on. And it was at that point I decided to run for council, and have served accordingly. My platform as mayor is fairly straightforward. I intend to focus on 3 priorities: leadership, jobs, and quality of life. Leadership, first, I intend to be a good listener and a servant leader. Secondly, I intend to emphasize cooperation, collaboration, and not confrontation. Finally, that the decisions made today are an important piece of a much larger puzzle, and we need to govern accordingly. Jobs, I will be a promoter of Sheridan at the state and local level, and I will work with groups such as CETA to attract new business. I will be a strong supporter of college programs and education in general, and I will work with such groups as the Chamber and Downtown Sheridan Association and be an active partner. Quality of life, I will make infrastructure and streets a priority. I will support senior citizen programs in the hub, and I will support law enforcement, firefighters, ambulance services, which keep our community safe. And again, thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Thank you. Roger Miller, your 2-minute intro.
Hello, I'm Is it on? There we go. Hello, I'm Roger Miller, and I'm your current mayor, and I very much appreciate the last 4 years. It's been a great honor to serve the city of Sheridan and the residents of the city of Sheridan. I have said all along that I stand for I stand for government accountability, transparency of our government, which I've established and made sure that we've done the last 4 years. I have made sure that I've stood for the rights of our citizens of the city of Sheridan. I've made sure that we've gone out and be able to have a voice in some of the top key issues that we've argued about for the last decade. We've made sure that we've moved on and moved through those issues, and here we are moving on into the next 4 years, of which I have a vision that we would like to finish and continue to work on things like the Riverwalk project. We have some good news that the Main Street project, as far as the 3-lane thing, is going to be going on hopefully here the next week or so, that we can start to help our downtown businesses with that project that we've been working on. We've been working on the 5th Street project for about 3 years. That will dress up that 5th Street entryway. We finished the Main Street, or the North Main area, the interchange, Blacktooth Park. The list goes on and on and on for all the accomplishments that we've been able to do over the last 4 years. I fully plan on continuing to work hard for the city of Sheridan, for the people of the city of Sheridan, and making sure that we still hold ourselves accountable and we work hard for the future of Sheridan. Some of my education background, for those that don't know me, I have a bachelor's degree in police and city administration. I have a law enforcement background that I stand strong for all of the citizens of the city of Sheridan. And I think I'll stop there because my sign's probably going to pop up in about 3 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question this evening: what are the most critical steps in creating a long-term vision for Sheridan, and who is involved in that process? We'll start out with Roger Miller.
So we've been doing that for the last 4 years, and actually for probably about 2 decades. But we basically hold community meetings and events. That's part of the process for looking at that future. When you look back over the last 4 years, we've done our CIP, which is our capital improvement plan, which has led to our 1 cent and our facilities tax that we do all the different working with. That we have about $7 million in the 1 cent and the cap tax to get those projects done. Being a very good steward of the budget and making sure as we work through our budget that we are checking off all the different aspects, that we're following through with all of our current budgets that apply to those types of things that are planning for our future. So what we've done in the past 4 years is already do a lot of that planning. What we'll continue to do for the next 4 years is continue that planning and work on the next projects that are out there, like the Riverwalk project on Main Street that crosses. That's one of the biggest things that we can do for our vision and our future.
Thank you. Rich Bridger.
Once again, I'd just like to hear the question again.
Sure. What are the most critical steps in creating a long-term vision for Sheridan, and who is involved in that process?
Well, obviously, I think that we're all involved with that. I mean, as a community, we all live in this community. We all make decisions that affect our daily lives. And so, that being said, we need to listen to the people and we need to hear what they say and plan accordingly. But we also have meetings where we discuss our 3, 5, 10-year plans, those sort of things, to lay out what we're going to do. We, like Roger said, we do have a CIP plan where we have plans for our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, those sort of things. So those are all taken care of. But it's also about just having a vision of what you'd like to see your community become. And so it's almost limitless what we can do, and I'm just very positive about that. And all it takes is a willingness to listen and a belief that we're going to get better and better, and that there's no limit to what we can or can't do. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question: air service is critical for the Sheridan community. Please describe the city's role in supporting air service. Rich Bridger.
Well, the nuts and bolts of that is one of the things that how we support that is through financial contributions to the air service. And then we also support that by working with the group CAST as a member of that group and moving forward with our air service. And that being said, then that trickles down to working with the state of Wyoming, the aviation department, for the future of our airport and our airplane and our air service. And then also that stands for being willing to get out there and make sure that people know that they need to support the local air service and they need to use it as frequently as they can. And so mostly though with the city of Sheridan, as far as what we do with the air service is we make a financial commitment to the air service to keep it going because we believe it's important and we believe it's a vital part of our economy for Sheridan. Thank you.
Thank you. Roger Miller?
So the air service is extremely important. We've been working on that for the last, how many years now, 6 or plus on that. We started really hard working on it about 2 years ago when the state legislature was looking at pulling more funding from it, and we had to work on a pathway to say, how do we actually keep our air service and keep it going? We worked diligently, and Rich was part of this as well, that we worked to get the state legislature to work with several communities to start to put that funding, that base funding, and get together for a few years. That is the start of continuing this great air service we have. Unfortunately, COVID stepped in this year and kind of put us on a backward spin on that, but with the next year to 2 years in advance coming up to play here, we were starting to see some very good numbers of increases for our air service. It's critical to our businesses. Businesses like Weatherby, when they moved to town, they said, we have to have air service or we can't move to your town. So it's very critical. We have to support it. The city is pledged to support it with up to $400,000 every year, and we'll continue from there.
Thank you. The next question, at last week's mayoral debate, adding a seventh penny was brought up. Please share your thoughts on why you do or don't think a seventh penny is a good idea. Roger Miller?
So there's only a couple of taxes that I don't mind paying. I'm not a taxpayer that loves to pay taxes, but I pay them because it's required of us. But your 5th cent and your 6th cent, or your cap tax and your 1 cent. We've done a lot with that for the last decade or two, actually going back to 1989. They're super important to us. The only way that I support the 7th cent is that our community supports it. If we need that extra dollar, say we get massive cutbacks here in the next couple years from the state legislature and our taxes that are coming in, we're going to have to look at that as a community. And we will ask the community to vote on that, not only Sheridan, but Dayton Ranchers of Claremont, the county. So we will have to do a lot of work to talk to our community, express what we're going to use that money for, and make sure that we do use that money for what we're going to say we're going to use it for, any kind of specific project. So I do support it if the citizens of the city of Sheridan and the county of Sheridan supports it, but only in that fashion. If we vote on it and we say yes, I absolutely support it.
Thank you. Rich Bridger?
Well, that's the key. I think regardless of what I think or don't think, it's going to be the community that's going to make that decision. And I think the community would make that decision of a yes if they thought that the reason we wanted to move that tax forward were good reasons and they were solid reasons. But at this time, I don't foresee us pushing that forward. Of course, with the state and the situation they're in, we have to see what sort of declines we have coming from the state as far as direct distribution and those sort of things. And we have to figure out our budgets and how we have to pare things back. And maybe at some point you throw it out there that we would like to propose an idea for a 7th cent, but at this time I just don't see that happening.
Thank you. Our final question this evening, what is the single most important role of the mayor, and how will you fill that role? Rich Bridger?
Well, I think the single most important role of the mayor is to listen to the people and respond to what the people's need and be a part of the community. And then, of course, it's to be that spokesman at the state level to represent the city of Sheridan and the people of Sheridan at the state level and be that voice for us. And so those are two of the main things. But then I also think it's just working with the council and working to build a common vision and a common goal, and using those tools of communication to talk to the people and get their idea of what they would like to do with our community and keep us moving forward economically. And so we have good people, good staff, and I think the mayor just has to oversee all that and basically keep the wheels on. Thanks.
Thank you. Roger Miller?
So the last 4 years, we've kind of been developing that under the new form of government that we have, and One of the things that was preached by the previous council and this last council is that part of the major job is to go down to Cheyenne, work with the state legislator, work with the governor, work with the SLIB board, work with WHAM, work with regional groups like NUGA, and that's what I've done. So I've made sure that we've done all of those things for the last 4 years. I'm already chairman of NUGA, board vice chair of CETA. I'm also part of the SAWS board. I'm also part of the WHAM as far as a board member. Those are things that are hard to get elected to and to stay elected to, and I've been able to work with people all across the state and here across the county and the city of Sheridan, and we do work very well together. You know, we discuss things on certain topics that we disagree, but at the end of the day, once we work through those issues, we move on to the next one, and we've accomplished a massive amount for the city the last 4 years. So the most important thing for the mayor to do is to keep working hard.
Thank you. So now we'll finish with 2-minute closing remarks, starting with Roger Miller.
So I'll just run a little bit of background history. I read a few of the things. SAWS chairman, at current, it switches back and forth between the mayor and the county. CETA board, vice chair, NUGA chairman, which is the group that works with Sheridan, Buffalo, and Gillette. We work at the more of a intermediate regional level between the state and the county. That's the group that we see a lot of the leads that bring in and bring businesses to our community. In fact, we have about 5 currently looking at us, even through COVID. It's something to very much keep in mind, that consistency of leadership through COVID and through this next year with those types of groups and keeping those relationships going is very important. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in police and city administration, emphasis in law, computer science. I have 2 degrees from Sheridan College. I have a certificate in police officer standard training. I'm also a certified, or was years ago, a certified commercial home inspector, so I know the codes and the laws and how all that stuff works together. Been a business owner for 18 years, as police officer detective in the Denver metro area, so I know how to stand up for the people, have a backbone, and not give in when people start to push these kind of crazy agendas that we see all across our country right now. When those groups came through town, talked to the police chief and our city administrator, and said, make sure that if crimes happen, we take care of business right away. We don't put up with any kind of nonsense. If it's a peaceful protest, we absolutely allow them to peacefully protest, and we do what we're supposed to do by the Constitution, by our laws, and by our government. So some of the vision real quick. I really want to be able to come on and have the next 4 years to continue working for the Riverwalk. I've spent 4 years working with the Corps of Engineers on the 1135 project, the Hillslide project, and we're right at the top level. Once that stuff is done next year, it'll be crucial to continue to work on that project to start to work through the paperwork process, which is going to probably take about 4 years. It'll take about up to 8 to 10 years to actually get the funding. So I'd love to be able to continue to work and be your mayor. I'm asking for your vote respectfully and saying thank you for the service, or thank you for allowing me to serve the last 4 years. I want to continue serving for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich Bridger.
Well, thank you again to the YO and to the Chamber for having us tonight. Briefly, I think the next few years are going to be challenging for the entire state and for the city of Sheridan. I'm sure everyone here knows the fiscal challenges that the state of Wyoming is facing with the declines in the mineral industries. That as a state, there will have to be hard decisions made regarding revenues and expenses, and monies available at the state level for local projects. But I don't think it's a time for despair or a time to be frozen with indecisiveness regarding our future. I personally think that Sheridan can and will move forward because of our current economic diversification. Additionally, Sheridan is a nice place to live. The abundance of natural beauty of which we are blessed make our community a nice place to call home. Our educational system from elementary through college are high quality and teach skills that are in demand. Sheridan is also blessed with a wonderful downtown and a solid workforce. Thus, I don't believe it is a time for despair, but a time to look forward with cautious optimism. I have a wide range of experience, community involvement with the city of Sheridan. I have realistic goals for keeping Sheridan traditionally unique while creating an environment that encourages growth of business and jobs. And as the business manager for the Sheridan Recreation District for the last 27 years, I know how to balance a budget through good times and bad. As a parent, school board member, and volunteer in our schools, I know the importance of a great educational system for our children. As the son of a highway patrolman, I know the value for keeping our community safe. And as a resident of Sheridan, I realize the importance of supporting our senior citizens. And finally, as a taxpayer, I know the value of fiscal responsibility and fiscal discipline. I'm Rich Bridger. I'm running for mayor. And once again, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight, and I would appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our City of Sheridan mayor candidates. Please come to the stage. All right, give you just another second to get situated. Your mic should be on. So we will start with intro, a 2-minute intro, beginning with Chad Baker.
Hello, my name is Chad Baker. I am married to Carla Baker, who's born here in Sheridan. We've been in Sheridan about 12 years. I'm the president of Security State Bank. I've been in banking for 20 years. Been involved in managing, multi-million-dollar businesses, working with the community to reach goals and business owners to reach their goals. I have 3 wonderful kids. I've got a daughter who's a 20-year-old college student, and I have 2 sons that are currently high school students at Bighorn. They both began their educational careers as kindergartners there. I have a bachelor's degree in agribusiness from Arkansas State University. And just when Carla and I had the boys, we decided we wanted to move to Sheridan and just love all of the unique opportunities that living here brings. It's a wonderful place to live, and just look forward to making it a better place through whatever contributions I can make.
Thank you. Next, Penny Mentuck-Barkin.
Good evening. My name is Penny Mentuck-Barkin, and I'm running for Sheridan County School District number 1 School Board Trustee from the Bighorn area. I'm a Sheridan native. I'm married to David Barkin. He's a retired community college professor of chemistry and mathematics. I have 3 daughters and 2 stepsons, and I have grandchildren in the school district. My qualifications include a Bachelor of Science from the University of Wyoming in Secondary Science Education. I have a Master's of Liberal Studies from Regis University in Denver in Middle School Science. I have a nursing certificate from Sheridan College. I'm a licensed practical nurse. I taught for 30 years at Bighorn Middle School and High School, mostly middle school. I like that better. I was an LPN for the Sheridan VA for 12 years, and I retired earlier in the summer. I continue to hold a current Wyoming teaching license. I have 7+ years of experience on the school board. I'm running for the school board because I believe that we are all lifelong learners. Most of the learning in our lives happens informally, but the formal education is one of the most important parts of our learning experience because of the impact that it has on the rest of our lives, where we go in our life. In our formal education, we work to acquire a skill set, which we then use to hire ourselves out for jobs. Simply put, the greater skill set that we have, the more choices we have, the more fulfilling our life can be. Sheridan 1 has been known for decades as an innovative school district. If you think back to when the change to the 4-day school week happened, that change was made to keep kids in school because of activities in athletics. Our students missed a large number of classes.
Thank you. Our first question this evening, share with us your ideas for how you would make cuts to K-12 education while still delivering a high-quality education? We'll start with Penny Mentok-Barkan.
Would you say that again?
Sure. Share with us your ideas for how you would make cuts to K-12 education while still delivering a high-quality education.
Well, I believe we have good schools. We're very fortunate to have good schools, and we hire good teachers. We have the best teachers we've ever had. They are better prepared. They know their subject matter. They know the teaching skill set that they need. They know how kids learn. They teach, they assess, reassess, and so that we work for the success of the student. So we continue to do that. And one of the biggest things that we can do for our students is we can help them learn resilience so that they persevere, they don't give up. Most of us don't accomplish something the first time we try it. So I would say we continue to do what we're doing and improve where we can.
Thank you. Chad Baker?
Well, I think we have to be willing to constantly evaluate ourselves. I think we need to look at what's worked well and maybe areas that we can cut. I mean, the theme that we're all hearing and seeing constantly is we know that budget cuts are going to happen. We know that with the economy, with COVID, with lower energy prices, that it's just going to happen. So I think we prioritize. I think we reach out. We've got a great community here of business leaders and professionals. I mean, we've got ranchers here. We've got educators here. We've got business people from just about every walk of life. I think we need to leverage our community. I think we need to listen to our community. I think we need to engage our community to be able to gain some insights and some leverage that may not cost money, that may just cost time. But I think we're going to have to look at things and constantly evaluate. I think it's very important.
Thank you. Our next question, what do you believe are the opportunities for education that have arisen out of COVID-19? Chad Baker?
Well, I think in the business world, I mean, we've all had times where we've had to work from home. I personally don't like that. I'm social. I like being around people. But I think that technology has been a great tool, and I think that the kids have been able to continue a high-quality education at home. And while I would say most of them want to be in school, I think learning how to leverage technology has been new to us, but it's been, I think we've had bumps and challenges, but we've also had some pretty good successes with it.
Great, thank you. Penny Mentok-Barkan?
Well, it certainly has been a challenge, and I believe that we will get through it, and I believe that we will be better for it. Sheridan 1 has been very fortunate to have had the foresight to purchase computers for our students. I believe every student above 4th grade and up has a computer from the school if they need it. One of the things that I think that we have learned is how important communication is. We need to talk to one another. We need to listen to one another. And I think that our students have, hopefully we've all become more patient, but I think our students, many of our students have become more self-sufficient because of the challenge.
Thank you. Our next question, what inspired you to run for Sheridan County School District Number 1 School Board? Penny Mentok-Barkan?
Well, I told you that a minute ago, that I'm running because I believe in that we're all lifelong learners. And again, most of our learning is in an informal mode. But our formal education is very important. It helps us to have self-confidence. It helps us to practice things. It helps us to learn how to make mistakes and come back from those mistakes. It allows us to live our dreams.
Thank you. Chad Baker?
Well, I believe that there's going to be a lot of challenges that will be coming about the next few years, not only from budget cuts, but from the population boom that we're getting. I think all of those things are going to put stresses on our education system and on our teachers. I think what I'd like to do is utilize my business and background and bring a positive can-do approach to just looking for opportunity in the midst of challenges, and to just work hard to put our kids first, and to make sure that they have all of the opportunities that they can.
Thank you. Our final question this evening: what do you believe sets you apart from your opponent? Chad Baker?
Sorry, what was the last part of that?
What do you believe sets you apart from your opponent?
I think the fact that, this is a new experience for me. Most of the boards that I've sat on have been, through the bank. I'm a board member on our bank board. I'm a board member of our church. I think each of those are just unique, but I think I've got a lot of the people skills. A lot of times I have to say no to people, and that's not always fun, but I think that the background that I've had has helped prepare me to listen and to make some critical decisions, and to be able to act on that. And that's just wanting to make a difference and use those skills that I've acquired over the years.
Thank you. Penny Mentok-Barkin?
I believe that my experiences with the school district, both inside and outside the classroom, as a patron for 18 years, I moved into the school district. I didn't live in the school district when my children, or when I was teaching first and my children were in school, because I didn't want to teach my own kids. I didn't bring them to Bighorn. I moved into the district when my parents sold me their property, and I moved in so they could stay in their home, and I lived in the little house. I know the system, and I think that gives me the advantage.
Thank you. We'll now hear the 2-minute closing remarks, starting with Penny Mentok-Barkin.
I've served on the school board when hard decisions have been made, and believe my experience with Sheridan County School District Number 1, both inside and outside the classroom, have allowed me a perspective unique from that of any other candidate or current board member. I ask you to please vote for me to represent the Bighorn area as a school board trustee. My main concern, and likely your main concern too, is that every student in Sheridan County School District 1 be successfully educated to the best of their abilities and acquires a skill set to allow them a fulfilling life. I want all students to graduate from high school, as it's a monumental stepping stone to their future. The Sheridan 1 School Board has worked diligently to use their allotted monies wisely and has made difficult decisions when need be. Some decisions that I have been part of during my terms on the board have been hiring a new superintendent, revamping the food service program, joining the Hot Springs Early Childhood BOCES, which has allowed funding for both of our preschools, joining a BOCES board to fund the dual and concurrent college classes for our high schools, partnering with the Tongue River Joint Powers Board to bring natural gas to the area, which will save tens of thousands in future utility costs, the formation of an alternative high school, the Bridges School, the formation of the Cowboy State Virtual Academy, where many struggling students and non-traditional learners have succeeded. Some positions we've not rehired, and we have changed others when necessary. We even put our new SRO, school resource officer, on hold because of current budget concerns. We added lights to our high school football fields and negotiated a contract where after 10 years after we've paid for them, we'll still be being paid, getting money, receiving revenue. I can assure you that I will work to the very best of my abilities to safeguard and promote the education of every student in the district, and I will work to improve an already outstanding school district. Thank you.
Thank you. Chad Baker?
Well, if I'm elected, I know that I'll have a multitude of things to learn, as this will be a new endeavor, for me. I guess what I would say is that I'm at the school a lot. I know the teachers, I know the faculty, the administrators. I attend a lot of the events out there, so I'm always going to be easy to find and to get a hold of. I'm always going to pledge to listen and to make the best decisions that I can. I also just, want, if elected, to know that I'm available. I have a vested interest with these boys. They've had a great career so far at Bighorn, and I just love the opportunity that that brings, and just hope that I can continue to contribute a part, to give back, and to also help them and the classes that come along in the future. I do think that, like I said, there will be tough decisions to be made, and I don't think most of us have really grasped the gravity of what some of these budget challenges will be down the road. But I think that there's always a willingness and a way to solve those issues. Constantly in business, we're always tasked to do more with less, and I think this is also an opportunity that we can do that and leverage the talent that we've got, the technology. We've got great facilities and great people, and I just look forward to our schools performing at a very high level.
Thank you. Please join me to thank our candidates for Sheridan County School District number 1. Kristen Jennings, Thomas Kelly, Spencer Kuzara. Candidates that are unable to attend this evening, Sean Day and Drew Davis. Give you all just a second to get situated there. We'll start with a 2-minute intro. First up tonight, Stephen Brantz.
Well, thank you very much. Like the moderator said, my name is Stephen Brantz. I am native to Sheridan. I raised a family of 2 boys. They've actually moved away with my grandchildren, which makes me a little sad. But anyway, I attended the Sheridan schools, Sheridan College. I worked 32 years at the Wyoming DOT, and I presently work part-time at the Sheridan School District. I did have the privilege of being on city council in 99 to 03. I found it very rewarding, and I gained a lot of knowledge about how the city works, and I met a lot of good people and made a lot of good connections. I honestly think I'd like to do it again if the voters would have me, so thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Jennings.
Thank you to the chamber for having us here tonight. I feel like I should stand on my chair so I can be seen, but yeah. So anyway, I'm running for council because I think that let me start again. I came to Sheridan 15 years ago to go to college, and I graduated from Sheridan College with 2 associates and a certificate, and I began to work in the community. I worked at a credit union in town for 15 years, and now I work for the county attorney's office. I'm on the board of JC's, and I'm also a volunteer with Joey's Fly Fishing Foundation. And these things that I just mentioned, they're the reason I'm running, because I feel like it is definitely a way to continue to get out in the community, to give the community access to the people that are there that are voted in for them. And so I just want that opportunity, and I would definitely appreciate your vote in November. So thank you.
Thank you. Thomas Kelly.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Kelly. It says Thomas Kelly. I go by Tom if you see me on the street. I'm a professor of political science. I'm on the Planning Commission. I've done this kind of stuff in government. My PhD is in urban politics. I have the technical credentials to do this job, but I am somewhat of a newcomer, about 1.5 years now in Sheridan, and I'd rather introduce myself as a person, who I am and why I'm running here. I wasn't blessed enough to be born and raised in Sheridan. I wasn't lucky enough to have come here many years ago. I spent most of my life in Illinois. We spent some time in Colorado. I am first and foremost a father of 6 children, one who has special needs, Down syndrome, one who's a cancer survivor. I'm a husband. My wife is a cancer survivor. We've had some serious challenges over the years, and during that time, I held my family intact. I made important decisions under incredible stress, under severe financial hardship. I kept us from going bankrupt. I kept my family together. And I chose Sheridan because this is where I wanted my family to be raised. This is my home now. I am here to help defend my home for my family and for your families. I would like to be on the city council because of my experience outside of Sheridan in other states with some of the same ideas I've heard in recent years to make an area great, and it ends up changing the character of a town and not for the better. So I'm asking for your vote so I can defend my family and yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Spencer Kuzara?
Thank you. My name is Spencer Kazar. I was born and raised here. My parents own a business downtown. I currently am the vice president of a nonprofit here in town focused on economic diversity, as well as I teach at the Sheridan College and am a software developer. And there actually are a couple teachers of mine in the audience tonight, which I have to apologize for how I was as a child, because now I understand. Anyway, the reason that I'm running for city council is, like many of you who could be home watching the presidential debates, believe that local politics, both state and city, affect your lives a lot more than some of the national politics that happen. For that reason, I'm running for city council. I'm hoping to be able to diversify the economy a bit and some of our industries here, hoping to unify the community, as well as do everything that I can to keep Sheridan the way that it is while moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question this evening: attainable housing continues to be a critical need. Please describe your approach to solving this issue. Kristen Jennings?
Well, I am actually currently going through that very situation. I'm selling my house and renting an apartment just because, economy in this town is attainable housing is hard to find. I don't know that the city council can provide attainable housing. I don't think that it's even the city's responsibility, but it is the city's responsibility to put in place or remove ordinances that keep attainable housing from coming to this area. And as a potential candidate, that's something that I would work for, is to review those ordinances and look at ways that they can either be rewritten, new ones proposed, or old ones that need to go away.
Thank you. Tom Kelly?
Well, the secret is out on Sheridan. Having been from the outside, Sheridan has become an oasis of sanity in a country that is coming loose at the seams in some places. It's not just something on the news. Many people are moving here. That's why I volunteered to work on the Planning Commission, and I support what we're doing right now. I work with Mayor Miller. I support his vision on making sure that we provide a market of attainable housing, that we don't provide subsidies for people to support the current prices. What we need to do is make sure there are enough homes to meet the demands of the people coming in, including moderately priced homes and lower priced homes for single family home ownership, perhaps townhouses. But the main thing to do is to make sure that market demand is met, so prices do not get inflated to people coming from out of state and bidding higher and higher for the few houses that are available.
Thank you. Spencer Kuzara?
Yeah, thank you. This is a good question, and a really tough one to answer, mainly because the term attainable housing could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. As far as the general idea of attainable housing, I'm going to agree with Kristen on this one. I think that you'd be hard-pressed as a city to control the market in such a way to provide attainable housing as a city, but what we can do on the city council is kind of review the ordinances that are in place and make sure that we're not putting up unnecessary barriers for people bringing attainable housing to Sheridan.
Thank you. Stephen Brantz.
Well, attainable housing is kind of a funny way to say it, because if you drive around and see all the building, there's houses for sale everywhere. So I think what you're actually saying is affordable housing. And it goes back to the fact that we have so many people that are in the food service, motel service. It just doesn't make sense to have those people try to buy these houses that are being sold for $300,000 and $400,000. I do think there somehow has to set up where housing of moderate size in certain areas for these people, but right now the market is toward the rich and the few. So.
Thank you. Our next question, what do you believe are the city's biggest challenges over the next 5 years or 10 years? Tom Kelly?
Going back to what I said before, the secret's out on Sheridan. The biggest challenge going forward is managing the growth that is already coming here. It is to stay proactive, to make sure that infrastructure never becomes overwhelmed. We discussed what goes on with the schools, but that's outside the scope of the actual city government. It's to be sure that, as Spencer had said, that the city is not in the way of developers coming in and houses being built that people could actually afford and move into. I would be wary of anyone who said the biggest challenge is making sure the government has enough money. The challenge for the government is making sure that they can do what they need to do with the money that they have. I don't support going the route of, as soon as the government's short on money, that we come back to the taxpayers, especially at a time where everybody's being financially crunched.
Thank you. Spencer Kuzara?
Thanks. Tom, great answer. I echo it 100%. I feel that the greatest challenges moving forward are, as Tom said, managing the growth that Sheridan is about to see. The toughest part about that, of course, is we need growth in the sense that I don't really know that this to be an exact fact, but I would guesstimate somewhere around a quarter of our budget comes from sales tax. Now, we do have tourism and things like that, but we have people coming here, and we need those people to come here. But at the same time, as they continue to move here, we have to make sure that we, can manage the budget, the infrastructure, as well as kind of maintaining the core values that we as a community hold close.
Thank you. Stephen Brantz?
Well, obviously, like the mayor and the mayor candidate said, it's going to be budget. It's going to be money. Money's a big item. And I think the city is going to have to really watch that we keep and provide our essential services. We need to make sure we have police, fire, water, sewer. That's going to be the big thing. Everything else kind of comes off the top as cream, but the city is going to have to make some tough decisions because the money will not be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Jennings?
Well, I would definitely agree with parts of everything that was said up here. We do want to maintain the Sheridan that we know and love, the reason that a lot of us have moved here or have been lucky to be born here. But I also think that some of the other bigger challenges that we're going to face in addition to that, we just talked about attainable, affordable housing. The job market is severely lacking in people to fill those positions. And you can't ask them to come here and take a job if they don't have a house to live in. And so, again, it goes back to where can the city council work with the rest of the city government to make Sheridan a place where you can afford both a house with the job that you get and love the place that you're in. So.
Thank you. Our next question, how would you describe Sheridan to a potential new resident or visitor? Spencer Kuzara?
Yeah, great question. I would describe, I would describe Sheridan as a place where you can be yourself. I would definitely use adjectives like wide open places, small town vibe, because I think that's especially true here. And a lot of people are seeking those things. We're starting to see a massive movement of de-urbanization. People are wanting to get away from cities. The whole COVID-19 thing has only exacerbated that. So yeah, I would definitely describe Sheridan, kind of as it is, as we all kind of know that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Brands?
That was a good question. I'll tell you, you could use the word pristine, no smog, little traffic. But what I'm amazed by is how many people I actually talk to on Main Street or wherever I go, and I say, hey, where are you from? And they'll tell me where they're from, and I'll say, how did you end up in Sheridan? Oh, we were driving through, and we really liked it, so we decided to retire here. And so sometimes, we live here, and we see all this beauty, and we kind of forget how beautiful it is till we hear it through someone else. But we have a beautiful community, I'll tell you. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Kristen Jennings?
Well, as somebody who's actually been in that position, I would call Sheridan an enigma in a way, just from the fact that it does have that small town feel while still being able to provide the services that the city needs. When I first moved here, I came from a really small town, about 150 people, and Sheridan was big to me. We had one stop sign where I came from, and I didn't want to drive for the first 3 months I lived here because I didn't know where I was going. But it's, as I've obviously branched out, it's become home, and I think that is how you would describe it to new people coming in, that you have what you need to live a happy, healthy life here. And if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're truly looking for, it can be home.
Thank you. Tom Kelly?
This is definitely one where it depends on from where the person is coming who asks. So some people I know from Chicago, I'm like, oh, it's wind and snow and bears and it's a nightmare. You don't want to come out here. But, in all seriousness, we have an opportunity here because of COVID, because of the riots continually going on in big cities. There are people who share our values that we could describe this place is safe, it is friendly, it is clean, it is vibrant, it's fun. And there are things you can enjoy downtown, like the WYO Theater. We have art, we have culture, we have wilderness. It's almost a self-sufficient community in some ways, although that remains to be seen when the next Wyoming budget comes out.
Thank you. Our final question this evening, describe the cap tax and what you believe the city's priorities should be with that money, provided the voters pass it. Stephen Brands?
Well, first of all, the cap tax was brought in for like roads, infrastructure. I don't know the projects that are on the agenda now, but they need to be for that and that only. Some taxes, again, we talk about adding another penny, and then all of a sudden that penny goes this direction, and then it goes that direction. But the cap tax has to be strongly put back into the community for something, like I said, roads or streets or something that's going to be there for a long time.
Thank you. Kristen Jennings?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Describe the cap tax and what you believe the city's priorities should be with that money, provided the voters pass it.
Definitely same definition. It is something that we need for the infrastructure of this town. I'm not a big fan of taxes. Anybody who knows my father knows that. And it's one of those things that I think we have to, I agree with Stephen, we have to be very responsible. You're taking money from people that, especially in a time like this, where money is tight and it needs to go toward what it is designated toward for the benefit of the community. It needs to stay there and nowhere else. So.
Thank you. Tom Kelly?
This is a case of if it's not broke, don't fix it. The cap tax has been in place for over 30 years. It's been continuously renewed by the people who live here. I've spoken to the people of Sheridan. They like the improvements they've seen coming from it. It's going to get renewed. It's not going to be, it'll keep the tax rate the same as is when it's renewed. So it should continue to function exactly how it was intended to function, to make sure that the bridges are fixed, that the roads are working, that the water supply is at the right pressure. So it's really kind of a no-brainer on whether to support that or not.
Thank you. Spencer Kazara?
Yep, I don't have anything new to say that wasn't already said. Essentially, the cap tax has been around a very long time. You know, I vote for it every time it comes around, just due to the fact that you know, it's been used on some very good things for the city. At the end of the day, as long as the government, the city government, can live within its means, and again, I don't know what those funds are earmarked for at this time, but whatever that they've been earmarked for, they need to be used for that, since that's, you know, what we told people that we're going to use them for. So other than that, that's how I feel about it.
Thank you. So we're going to finish up with our 2-minute closing remarks, starting with Kristen Jennings.
Thank you again to the Chamber for hosting this event and the YO for allowing us to use their building. You know, as I talked about in my opening, I believe that I have a well-rounded education community experience that would be very beneficial to our community. And when I told my family that I was going to be running for office, or asked what their thoughts were, I remember my dad saying, instead of saying, perfect, great, go for it, you know, not that he doesn't think I would be a good city council person, but his first question to me was why? Why do you want to run? And I look back at that and I realized later that it was to make me realize I'm not running just for one or two issues, that I have to be sure about why I'm running and as a whole. And so I believe that I've had plenty of time to mull that around and think on that. And I, as I dig deeper into this, realize obviously there is more to our community, to being a city council person, than just a few things that I really like about the city, or maybe something that's ticked me off. I have to be open and accepting to every aspect of the city council and to the community and what it needs. So I'm Kristen Jennings, and I'll ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Kelly?
I've joked with some people when they ask why you're running, and I've said the worst thing that can happen is I win, because this is not an easy job. It's part-time pay for full-time work. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. Now, on the surface, on paper, I believe I'm the strongest candidate running right now for city council, but I don't believe that's why I should be on the city council. Most of the community service I've done in my lifetime is not something that you get a title for or it goes on a resume. I've organized fundraisers for other families who had children with cancer. When one of our church families was evicted because the father went to prison, I had a family of a mother and 4 children move into my home for 2 years rent-free to take care of them back when I lived in Illinois, because that's the type of man that I am. That is what I would like to bring to the city council: somebody who can make tough decisions, somebody who can make those tough decisions with compassion, and most importantly, with a wide perspective from outside of Sheridan. The city council is going to have people who know the history and know the character of the town better than I do, but I doubt there'll be anyone who could make the type of tough judgment calls that I can make. My name's Tom Kelly. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Spencer Kazara?
Thank you. Great answer, Tom. So with the current budget cuts that we know are coming, I think that I possess some unique skills in being able to budget the city's funds. The reason I believe this is one of my qualifications. In 2019, I signed on to the board of an investment firm. We were able to take this fund from $200,000, which, if you know anything about investment funds, is very small, from $200,000 to over $6 million in less than 1 year. We did that by thorough research, smart investments, and working together well as a team. I think I can bring those qualities to Sheridan City Council. My name's Spencer Kazara. Please vote for me.
Thank you. Stephen Brantz?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, I was on city council about 10 years ago, and I took some time off. Like Mr. Kelly said, it's an actual full-time job. The salary, the pay, we won't even talk about it because it's just a penance. But anyway, you'll put in about 30 hours a week, if not more. You'll be on the phone. You know, you'll get a phone call at night. Can I talk to you for just a minute? Yes. 30 minutes later, you're still on the phone. Then they'll say, well, somebody else will call and say, well, can you come over here and look at this? And you do. Let's go have lunch together. You pay for the lunch. So really, being on city council is a lot of work, and it's no money involved. Anybody up here, my three fellow candidates, would all make great councilmen, if they're willing to put in the time. And I think they're all decent people. So I wish them all the best of luck, and I thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates for City of Sheridan Council. Richard Bubba Hall, Aaron Kilbride, Gary Koltiska, Tracy Swanson, Deborah Wetland, Walter Raggi. All right, we'll go ahead and kick it off. We'll start with 2-minute intros, starting with Richard Hall.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here. I'll start with my background and experience. I'm a product of the community college. 29 years of my life has been spent in the community college. 2 as a student, 27 years as an employee. I was a teacher, coach, academic administrator, and athletic administrator. I believe in the community college mission. I've seen and witnessed a lot of successes, not only with me as a student who was given an opportunity to play a sport and go to college as an individual from a small town, not ready for a big university, but many of my students, many of former athletes who were very successful because they were given an opportunity with open access. The last 6 years of the 27 years has been spent at the district as administrator, both in terms of an academic administrator and also an athletic administrator. I would like to start by saying, although I was recently part of the RIFs, it is not my goal here to disparage the college or run to be personally vindicated. I'm very much about serving the community, very much about being part of a solution, and I think we've got some some very challenging times ahead of us, and I would like to very much be part of that. So there's a lot of things I've got. Education-wise, PhD in education. I've got a master's in math and education, bachelor's in mathematics, and also an associate's in general studies.
Thank you. Aaron Kilbride.
Hi, I'm Erin Kilbride. First, I just want to say thanks to the Chamber, the Governance Committee, for hosting us tonight. I'm an advocate for people to get out and vote. I'm an advocate to be an informed voter. So thank you all who are here tonight and obviously who are going to be listening in on this later. So I'm the director of the Tongue River Valley Community Center in Dayton and Ranchester. I moved to Dayton in 2006 with my husband Pete and our 2 young boys at the time. Obviously loved Sheridan County and what it could offer our family. And we've been happy to be here. Since then, though, I've obviously been involved with a lot of organizations in Sheridan, served on many boards, and know what board governance is, and believe that that's one quality I can bring. I'm a graduate of Casper College, was a student athlete at Casper College, graduated with an associate's degree, graduated from the University of Wyoming with a bachelor's in exercise and sports science, and most recently graduated with a master's degree in public administration from the University of South Dakota. I'm running because I believe in education. I believe in higher learning and educational attainment. It's a driver for economic diversity and economic development. And I believe this district, the Northern Wyoming Community College District, is an asset and an important resource to the communities in that manner. We're facing challenging times. We need leaders who will listen. We need leaders who bring innovation. We need to think outside the box in these challenging times. And we need leaders who will bring integrity. Tough decisions are to be made, and we need to make those with integrity. So I believe my leadership style and my education can serve this district well. And I am Erin Kilbride, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Gary Koltiska?
I hope this thing's working pretty good. My throat ain't working real good, but I've been on the college board for 4 years now. Thoroughly enjoy it. If you asked me 20 years ago, are you going to be a college board member or that, I said, are you crazy? But I have truly, truly enjoyed it. As you know, I run last time as a very conservative. Part of that was, as you all know, to get rid of Spiro Wigwam, which has been accomplished. But other than that, I think I'm here to serve, to try to worry about the finances, probably as much as anything. But to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a lifelong resident of Sheridan County. I've been married to the same woman, God bless that woman, for over 50 years. 3 children that live in this community, 3 boys and their families. I have actually 13 grandchildren because my oldest granddaughter married a guy, and he's just one of my grandchildren, and I'm also a great-grandpa. That's enjoyable. But I plan to have them educated and a place to be educated here in this community, and that's one of the reasons I like serving here. And it's not just them, but all of us have children that we would like to see stay in our community. And so as long as I can try to help a little bit, I'm willing to do it. I'm chairman of the CETA board right now. That's been a great experience. But most of all, we have a great board right now that's great to work with. And I thoroughly enjoy the college board. So thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Swanson?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm just going to give a little background on myself. I was born in Cheyenne, graduated from Wheatland High School in 1968. I attended Casper College, and that was really a fun place to go. I went on a rodeo scholarship, so I knew what was going on. I didn't know about Sheridan then. It was too far from home, I guess. Followed my wife to University of Arizona. I attended University of Arizona, but I did not graduate from there. Then we moved back to Wheatland. I started a banking career in Wheatland, Chugwater, ended up in Cody. And then in 1983, I became a financial advisor for Waddell & Reed. And in 85, we moved to Sheridan, which is a great community to be a part of. I worked then went to work for Piper Jaffray in 1988, and then I opened the office at D.A. Davidson in 1998. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We have 2 children. Dondi, our daughter, lives in Great Falls with 4 grandchildren, and have a son here. Todd Swanson is married to Candace. What I think I bring to this board is my experience of being out there in the community. I was on the Wyoming Retirement Board for 8 years. I am on the Episcopal Church, the foundation, for 10 years. I've been on the rodeo board for 25 years, president for 10 years. I'm out in the community, and it's my time to give back to the Sheridan College.
Thank you. Deborah Wetland?
Good evening. I got good news and I got bad news. The bad news, you know, there's a train coming, and it's a fiscal crisis for Wyoming. But there's some really good news. Have you seen our campus just outside of town here? Have you investigated our faculty? Have you listened to the people who have come before on this stage tonight who have all referenced educations at Sheridan College and what it's done for them? My name's Deb Wentland. My husband and I, Tony, have lived here for 30 years. I came from Torrington, and let me tell you, when I got here in 1990, I said, are we still in Wyoming? There's water, there's trees, there's mountains. This is a lovely place for a Torrington girl. We've raised 2 boys here. Both are grown, and one is at Sheridan College, I'm happy to say. I've been privileged to be on the Sheridan College board for 1 term. That's a 4-year term, and during that time, it's been a steep learning curve, and I've been active in the board leadership. I'm currently the treasurer of the board. So when I begin with numbers, you'll understand why. But the good news is, the best way to build our local economy and our state economy, the best bang for your buck is always the community college. So I would ask you to consider sending me back for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter Raggi?
Yes, thank you. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. And it's so good to see so many people here tonight. It's really important that you are informed about your candidates for these different positions that we have available in the county. My name is Walter Raggi, and my background is that I've had 41 years in K through 12 public education, retiring in 2001. I was 14 years as a music instructor. I was 27 years as a school administrator at Woodland Park and at Meadowlark School here in Sheridan. And we've been in Sheridan now for 56 years, moving here in 1964. I'm married to my wife Lois of 60 years. We have 5 grown children. 3 live in Wyoming. 1 lives here in Sheridan. 2 live in Colorado. We have 10 grandchildren, and one of those grandchildren is presently going to Sheridan College. And we have 4 great grandchildren. My education, I attended high school in Nebraska, and I have an Associate of Arts degree from Casper College. And so I got that in 1958, Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Northern Colorado in 1960, and a Master of Education in Educational Administration from the University of Wyoming, 1972. As a trustee, I've been very involved. I've been a trustee now for 13 years. Secretary of the board for 4 years, vice chair for 4 years, and this year I'm chairman of the board. I've also been very involved in the State Trustees Association, 8 years. 5 years of those were as secretary, and I was president of that for 3 years. I've also served on the President Search Committee for Sheridan College in both 2010 and 2000.
Thank you. Thank you. Our first question this evening, in your opinion, what roles does the college fulfill for the community? Erin Kilbride?
Thanks. The colleges, for their communities, obviously play a lot of roles. I mentioned education being an economic driver for economic diversity. And the most important thing we can do, I think, is educate our kids, whether it's a post-secondary degree or whether it's a certification. We need to educate our kids to put them back into our community, to be productive citizens, to build a healthy community. And I think Sheridan College, Gillette College has done that well. We've produced some great students, students who have built their own businesses here and have stayed in the area and built their own businesses, and obviously students who have moved on for a 4-year degree and beyond. But not being here very long, there's a lot of Sheridan folks that come back here because it's a great community, and I think the community college produces those students, those people.
Thank you. Gary Koltiska?
I think our college, both here in Sheridan and Gillette, and even our Buffalo campus, have done a great amount in helping train people for jobs in our community. Gillette, I know, MSHA trainings. We have, of course, our welding programs, our mechanic programs, our nursing programs, our dental hygiene, and those are jobs that we need in this community. There are other jobs available, and we also have the training for them. But like I said, primarily, I look at what we're doing in our tech end of it. And I think our colleges, both Sheridan, Buffalo, and Gillette, are doing a tremendous job.
Thank you. Tracy Swanson?
Yeah, I think our community college here is a jewel to help people get where they want to go. It's a stepping stone for people that maybe can't go to the university, and that what happens is they can go here and then they can decide and almost get a complete degree here also. So I think that's important. My thoughts is that I want to help the college help those that want to help themselves. You can't make people educate unless you're here to help them, and I want to help people that want to help themselves.
Thank you. Deb Wetland?
The roles of the community college are set forth actually in our mission statement and in our priority statement, which was adopted by the college many years ago. We tweak it every now and then, but essentially it's this: build lifelong learners and economic development. When I first came on the board, Dr. Young was the president of the college, and at that time, he said a very interesting thing to me. He said, oh my gosh, every time somebody has a good idea in this community, they come running to the college. And that's right. Early childhood development, we came to the college, and we got help, and we got training and certification for child care workers. Industry comes to the college for MSHA training and certificate training, air conditioning and heating training, training to go on to university. When there's a good idea to build our community, you come to the community college, and guess what? The college has been responsive.
Thank you. Walter Raggi?
Yes, don't have a lot more to add to that. That's pretty much it, folks. You know, our role as a community college is to serve the 3 counties that we represent: Campbell County, Johnson County, Sheridan County. One of our main objects is to build the economy of the state. They really look to us to do that, and I think we're just doing a fantastic job of that. Industry that comes and wants to move to Sheridan, where's one of the places they go? They go to the college and see how can the college help them build their workforce. So that's one of the things we do: build workforce, economic diversity, by doing what we do. But furthermore, we also serve our community members by allowing them to come back there and pick up extra courses if they want. But some of them come out and love to build pottery and those kinds of things. That's available. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Hall?
1 minute.
1 minute.
The community college, wow. I mean, again, go back to my opening statement. The mission of the college is unbelievable. It's the primary need, is to meet the needs of the community. And when you talk about those needs, it's part of the educational system. It's part of the, helping the pipeline with early childhood education through K-12 all the way into the junior college or community college system onto 4-year schools. It helps with the diversity of our campuses, community relations, building jobs or fulfilling jobs, defining our competitive advantages, getting students here from out of state who are going to come and enjoy and love Wyoming as much as those of us who have come from other communities, and hopefully they stay. Hopefully they stay. They learn that they've, this has been a wonderful place.
Thank you. Our next question this evening: what do you believe makes Northern Wyoming Community College District unique from the other college districts? Start out with Gary Koltiska.
There's a lot of things that make it unique, and when you say Sheridan College, remember you're including Gillette and Buffalo, and that's something we sometimes seem to forget a little bit. But if you go to either of any of these campuses, you still have that small town, small college feeling, instead of there being 10,000 students running over. Looks like going on an anthill. You go to our college and see what's going on there. And the public is welcome to come and see. And it will absolutely amaze you of the things that are doing. And not only that, you can also learn, as I have a grandson going, that's doing it online. So you don't have to necessarily do everything right there. You can go multiple ways. So we have one of the best colleges in the nation.
Thank you. Tracy Swanson?
Yeah, I think Sheridan College just brings a lot of things to our community. Being in Sheridan or going to school in Casper, I can understand that the weather here is a lot better, which makes it fun for me. But you come to this campus, it's clean, it's nice, it's organized. There's been a lot of thought process go back to our forefathers who started this campus a long time ago. It's just a wonderful. You go to LCCC, you don't see that, and you go to Torrington, you don't see that. It's just a great jewel.
Thank you. Deb Wetland?
Hands down, what makes Sheridan Community College unique amongst all the community colleges in the state of Wyoming is this community. Every community college is jealous of this community because of the support we get from voters and from foundations and from taxpayers. Here's a quick interesting fact. Don't put that sign up, young lady. The Wallet Hub Foundation recently did a study in 2020. Wyoming's community college system is ranked #1 in the United States. 5 of our 7 community colleges are in the top 35 out of 650 community colleges, 1,000 out of the United States, and Sheridan is #3. We're unique, and we have a community that supports us, and that's why.
Thank you. Walter Raggi?
Oh, you took one of my lines, Deb, doggone you anyway. Yeah, we were really proud of that fact, that we are ranked so high. The Northern Wyoming Community College District is very unique. And Sheridan College really stands out because, number one, we have fantastic facilities at our college. You know probably that we've put in well over $100 million in infrastructure on our campus. You don't find that kind of growth on some of the other campuses in the state. We have a fantastic faculty. Our faculty members are constantly winning national awards. Our students are constantly winning national awards because of the fine work that's being done in the classrooms at the college. And also, I would also mention that the support that we get from our community is just outstanding. We couldn't do half of what we were able to do out there. It's very, very important.
Thank you. Richard Hall?
The list of what makes NWCCD unique, and I think it is that, first of all, it is a district. And we've got outstanding community support in Sheridan, Gillette, and even in Johnson County there in Buffalo. We are stronger together. As a former district employee who spent time on all of our campuses, I realized how strong we are and how good people we have within our campuses. Faculty and staff, they're the lifeblood of the college. And that's shown in the completion rates of our students. Not only do our faculty do a good job in the classroom, our staff do an outstanding job of getting them into the classrooms and helping them help support them to being successful. And again, the last thing I just say is just our outstanding community support, with facilities and with an opportunity to move forward.
Thank you. Erin Kilbride?
Yeah, hands down, we are stronger together with 3 communities in 3 counties, and that's what makes us unique. But our faculty and staff, obviously, are what drives it. Our administration, the great foresight of the board, obviously the trustees that have been proactive to make Sheridan College and Gillette colleges in Johnson County what it is today. So the students, obviously we have some awesome students, and I'm sure that we're going to continue to grow that student base. And then obviously our community and our beauty. I think it's probably the most beautiful campus in Wyoming, and we're blessed to have that beauty, and we're blessed to have the community support that we have. So we are unique, and we are the best, and we're one of a kind for sure.
Thank you. Our next question this evening: the current fiscal climate has already forced difficult decisions. What will be your approach to further cuts? We'll start out with Tracy Swanson.
Well, I think the key is that we have to put the budget together, and the budget has to be a sensible budget. And the past board has done a great job. But it's one thing to put a budget together, it's the other thing to implement it. I've been doing budgets for 30 years, and it's good and easy when things are fat. It's easy to let your belt out. It's harder than heck to pull it in. So I think I can give that ability to sit down, visit with people, see what the point are, and make things work that would make the budget work, and do with what you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Deb Wetland?
Yeah, fiscally, we're in tough shape. Our community college, Sheridan Community College, actually I should back up and say Northern Wyoming Community College District, so Sheridan, Buffalo, and Gillette, we get 61% of our budget from the state. So when I tell you that things look grim, I mean that, because we don't know what the legislature is going to do yet in January. But here's what I can tell you approach-wise. This is how the current board has taken that on. We're going to look at what we have to have, what our priorities are, and it's academics, folks. Our priorities at that college are academics. Love sports, went to college on a basketball scholarship, but our number one priority is academics, because that's what will help students and build our community. And then we're going to prioritize within those classes on what we can afford. We work under a balanced budget. We are fiscally sound at the college.
Thank you. Walter Raggi?
We are definitely in an economic crisis. And all of those comments that Deb made about how we're going to do this is absolutely true, because we've already talked about this. We spent time on it already, looking forward, and we know that there are more cuts coming. It's really important that we understand that we are trying to save programs for academics. And Deb mentioned that. We are an academic college. We have an academic focus. And it's important for everyone to understand that. Some of the decisions that we've had to make having to do with the budget have not been very popular, as you know. But we think that in order to keep the academic focus on at our college, some of those things were necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Hall?
Could you please repeat the question?
Sure. The current fiscal climate has already forced difficult decisions. What will be your approach to further cuts?
First of all, you got to understand the budget. Again, you got to understand where the money's at. But with all that, with that is defining what your competitive advantages are, what your priorities are. And in order to offer up effective solutions, you really need to fully assess and analyze all the information and data pertinent to making these decisions. And yes, academics is important. Campus life is important. Educational success, educational attainment, quality educational experience for our students is important, because we got to have student numbers in our classes to be effective. The more students that we get into our college, the more students that we have, in our seats taking our classes, the better we will be.
Thank you. Erin Kilbride?
Yeah, definitely understanding the budget and where those cuts need to be, and prioritizing. It's like writing out goals, right? We have to write out our priorities, and we have to stay within those limits, and we have to understand that. I like to think on the other side of it, though. You're going to ask us to cut. We're going to cut. We're going to make sure we balance the budget. Absolutely. I run a business and my family by making sure I have a balanced budget and not going in the red. But then where can we find revenue, right? So you're going to ask me to cut and cut and cut, but what are we going to do to go find revenue to keep some of those programs, to keep our success? And so cuts are going to be hard. There's going to be some major decisions to be made, obviously, within those programs, and I hate to see any academic program cut. So that's where those priorities will come in. But then where are we going to find new sources of revenue? And I'm excited to look at that.
Thank you. Gary Koltiska?
Yeah, revenue's a tough situation. One thing I think we all need to look at every school, everything, is the difference between need and want. So much in the past we've lived on our wants, and we've been getting them in that. Now it's back to what do you actually need. Some programs are going to have to be cut. Some programs, I believe, can be improved and more students brought in. I'm not necessarily in favor of bringing students in at a high cost that does not generate and make a payback to support our college. If it's costing more to bring them here than we can get in funding, I'm sorry, it's not worth it. When we have a lot of local talent that would not cost us that kind of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question this evening: if Gillette is successful in separating from the district, what should the board do to support that? If Gillette is not successful in separating, how does the board heal the rift? Start out hearing from Deb Wetland.
Well, that's the big question. I mean, the short answer is we don't alienate our partners now. I'm hearing things coming out of Gillette and that I don't like. But I'm not going to alienate my partners because they may be back in with me in a few short months. If Gillette is successful in getting out, then we can be supportive in several ways. We share a lot of administrative functions and record functions and staffing functions, and we can provide that kind of information. But folks, I hope you understand, if Gillette is successful in leaving our district, it will cost our district between $2 and $3 million annually. We'd like to keep them, but it's hard to have a partner that doesn't want to be with you. And so our goal now, frankly, is to be the best partner we can, and that is to be helpful where we can in sharing information, but I'm not campaigning for them to leave.
Thank you. Walter Raggi?
No, I'm not either, Deb. As a matter of fact, I would state right here tonight that we don't want Gillette College to leave. We want them to stay. We think that they're a very, very important part of our college district. And however, we have told them from the very beginning that, number one, we would not be a barrier to them in their process of doing the split. And secondly, that we would provide any of the resources that they needed as far as information and data and those kinds of things. So if they do split, yes, it's going to cost us financially. It's going to be a big hit for sure. If they don't, or if they aren't successful, we will welcome them with open arms, continue on doing what we've been doing, try to help our communications a little bit more, and go from there. We really would like to keep them. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Hall?
It is my desire that Gillette does not separate. Again, a stronger district is made when we have stronger campuses throughout this district. Gillette has a lot of good people, faculty and staff, very good, and I would hate to see them leave. Again, I've got a lot of respect for them. To me, I feel like they are part of the district and part of my home. Although I live in Sheridan, I spend enough time over there with work in Gillette that I feel like it's a very easy campus to be on. So basically, it's up to their voters and it's up to the legislature to support, if they're going to support the separation. And if that happens, then all we can do as a district is help support them to make that transition as easy as possible.
Thank you. Aaron Kilbride?
Yeah, you said it well, Richard, a few minutes ago when you said we're stronger together, and we are. We're better together. And so obviously I haven't been in that relationship, but I've seen it from an outsider, and I think it's a great district together with Gillette College being a part of the district. It will be unfortunate if they do break off, but we'll still be strong. I have confidence in the administration, the board, and the faculty and the staff that Sheridan will remain strong, and we will not create barriers, and we will not kind of stoop to that level if I say that. But we'll be positive, and we'll open them, and we'll help them, and we'll support them. But we'll continue to build what we have here and continue to educate students, because that's why we're here, and build the best possible college that we can without them.
Thank you. Gary Koltiska?
Yes, I hope we can keep it as it is with Gillette and Buffalo, Sheridan, all one. But in any case, we still have to support our Sheridan College to make sure that it's not pulled down in any way, shape, or form. There are things that they're trying to work through. One is a road like the rodeo, where they will have a rodeo in joint with Gillette College to help save money. 1 year it'd be at Gillette, 1 year at Sheridan, but they'd work together. And I think that a lot of that could be continued, and hopefully this hard feelings will go away and we can welcome Gillette back as it was before. Thanks.
Thank you. Tracy Swanson?
Yeah, this isn't our decision. This is a decision that's going to be put on us, and we'll have to do what we have to do. And I am ready, as a board member, to roll up my sleeves and get to work. If Gillette decides to go on their own, we wish them well, and they'll do well. And we will do well also, because we have a great community, and the people of Sheridan are awesome. If it stays where it is, great. Still roll up your sleeves. Let's make things better, because we still have a budget problem to take care of.
Thank you. We'll now hear closing comments, 2 minutes. We'll start with Walter Raggi.
Well, thank you very much. I first of all want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the YO for sponsoring the event tonight. We really appreciate you doing this, giving us an opportunity to share our thoughts with the community. I want everybody to know that I have absolutely the highest regard and admiration for the executive team in our college district. It has been an exceedingly difficult year, and for all of us. And we've just been amazed as a board how well our executive team at the college has been able to handle what we've gone through. So high regard and admiration for that team. A lot has been said here tonight, and it will continue to be said over time. And let's remember, first of all, to keep our eye on the ball, okay? We have a college mission statement, and it talks to 3 things. It talks to welcoming all learners. I think we do that exceedingly well. We try to empower student success. That's what we're about, students and their success. And then strengthening community development. That's why we do the things that we do at the college, to try to help to build up our community. We do have a master facilities plan. We do need to continue to move forward on the addition and renovation to our health sciences wing at the college. That's going to provide wonderful things for our students. Let's remember to we're going to face challenges. Student success is the first challenge that we have. We feel pretty good about the number of students that have come back, and we hope that those numbers will continue to grow. The most important thing, though, is to stay connected with the fact that Sheridan is a very special place with incredible assets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Hall?
Who would have thought 1 year ago today we would be having these discussions? As I was making my decision on whether to run for the board or not and doing a lot of reflecting, I was thinking about a year ago, at this time, and the outlook was very much different. We've had a lot of changes that have happened that have impacted our communities, our nation, and even our colleges. And so we've got a lot of things we've got to overcome. And again, I'm looking forward to hopefully being voted in, be part of the board to help solve some of these solutions. You know, when you talk about loss of enrollments, you're talking about the big changes we've had with faculty and students having to go online. Anytime you're going through budget crisis, in my 27 years, there's always had an impact on employee morale. You know, and it's part of managing the colleges. And you know, another thing that is a grave concern of mine is campus safety. When we had the campus police, armed police that was cut. I've got a daughter that's going to college out there right now, and we're living in a world that is crazy. It's chaotic. Fortunately, we live in Wyoming, and I love Wyoming. It's a very safe place. Part of the reason why we, as a family, want to stay here. And so, but it's also, you know, a kind of an unnerving thought when we're talking about campus safety and having a daughter on the campus and, you know, seriously thinking, going, wow, it's just one incident away, knowing that armed police officers can serve as a deterrent. Not saying it's always a fail-safe, obviously, but it serves as a deterrent. And obviously, we've got community relations that we've got to deal with.
Thank you. Aaron Kilbride?
Well, first, I just want to say I'm honored and humbled to be up here with these 5 people. You guys are wonderful people, and I'm excited to be able to have the opportunity to potentially serve with you. Sheridan College, Gillette College, Johnson County, it's obviously, we talked about it, it's one of our greatest assets in the state of Wyoming, and I'm excited to be a part of that. Though I probably don't have as much experience as these folks, I believe that my youth can bring something new and different. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves. I've ran a nonprofit for 12 years now. I've balanced a budget for 12 years. I know what it's like with the potential of cuts. I depend on 50%, 40% of my budget is donations and our great community that supports the work we do. So every day, that fiscal responsibility runs through my head, and I understand that. I'm ready to step up to the plate, if you will. I'm ready to make those decisions, and I'm ready to, I talked about at the beginning, I'm ready to listen. Leaders listen well. I'm ready to bring that innovation to Northern Wyoming Community College. And I'm going to make these decisions with integrity. It's hard. It's hard when we're faced with diversity. It's hard to make sure we have integrity, and that's my leadership style, and I'll do that for the students and the faculty and staff and administration at the district. So I'm Aaron Kilbride. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Koltiska?
Yes, like I said, I would appreciate being back on the board. I think there's a lot of unfinished work, and there's going to be more budget cuts, one thing or another. But I hear some say, well, they have to do online schooling. And I take a little bit of offense to that because I have 2 grandchildren that are doing online, and they absolutely love it. So it's not necessarily all bad. Do I believe we're going to have to continue our tech program? And we do have plans for the future the college has. We have all kinds of plans for the future to more programs and stuff. But it takes time and it takes money. And right now we have way more time than we got money. But like I said, I continue to work there and hope I'm doing what's best. We have some outstanding administration, and that as far as I'm concerned, and they're the ones that help lead us through what we need to do, what programs, so on and so forth. But I'd appreciate your vote again. I would truly like to serve again. And there again, I know all these people on here. One of them's on one of the boards with me. One of them I've known forever and a day since he's been here, and part of the board, and for a long time. but it's been a great board and a great honor to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Swanson?
You know, I'm excited. I wasn't on the board when you had all the money, so it doesn't make any difference to me. I'm coming on to the board fresh. The budget's going to be what it is. We've got great decisions to make. We've got a great president, I think, and we have good things happening. I'm not going to walk around and cry in my beer. We've got good stuff. We've got a great college. Sheridan College is a wonderful spot. Let's get our chins up, whether Gillette's with us or not, doesn't matter. Hopefully they are, but if they aren't, we're going to go strong. We've got good things to take care of, so let's put our chins up and go strong. And I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Deb Wetland?
Last week, the New York Times had a fascinating article, and it couldn't have come out at a better time. I mean, you've heard the bad news. We're living the COVID news, and the New York Times published a very interesting article with about 15 studies that said the #1 way to build your economy is invest in your community college. Times are tough. But what an exciting thing to be able to pack our seats. Do you know, at Sheridan College, we have an average class size of 11. We can pack those seats, and we can do it 12 months out of the year. And that is an exciting way to meet what is in front of us. And so I thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. YO, Chamber, thank you. And thank you for the 4 years you've given me in the past to be on the board, and I would ask you consider to send me back for another 4 years. Thanks.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates for NWCCD. This is 5 positions open. Our candidates, Craig Acord, Daniel Arnaud, Ed Fessler, Shane Rader, Wayne Schatz, Dana Wyatt, and one candidate was unable to be with us this evening, Mary Beth Evers. All right, we'll get started this evening with introductory comments, starting with Craig Acord.
Okay, I'm Craig Acord. A little bit about myself. I graduated from the University of Wyoming a couple times, undergrad, marketing, master's in accounting. Worked in accounting for the last 20 years, public, governmental, and most recently nonprofit. I'm currently the controller for Whitney Benefits, have been for the last 8 years. I'm currently the chairman of the board for School District 2, as well as the treasurer of Sheridan Community Land Trust and the Children's Center Board. I'm a volunteer with the Goose Valley Fire Department, and I have 2 children in the district attending Sagebrush, one in 1st grade and the other in 4th. I'm running for re-election because I bring some diversity to the board with my background in accounting and also having 2 young children in the district. I feel I can represent other parents that currently have children in the district well. And that's what I have. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Danielle Arnaud.
Hi, thank you. My name is Danielle Arnaud. I am running for School Board District 2. I was born and raised here in Sheridan, and I graduated from Bighorn in '96. I have an associate degree from Sheridan College. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in public administration from MSU Billings. I am a member of the Crow and Blackfeet tribes of Montana. I have one child, Dane Benson, who is a second grader in our district. I enjoy outdoor activities and I love the Bighorn Mountains. I believe I'm qualified for District 2 School Board because of my education and professional experience. I've had an interest in social issues and policy from a young age. I was the youngest participant in a citizen panel at the Wyoming State Capitol supporting the wolf reintroduction into Yellowstone in '92. I served as a Congressional Award intern at the Smithsonian, the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. And I've participated in many congressional conferences in our nation's capital. I've always thought of myself as a voice for those who need help. In my graduate education, I studied public administration, and I was a researcher for the Let's Talk Suicide Prevention Program. After I graduated, I worked for the Center for Mental Health Research and Recovery at Montana State University. I've enjoyed working with youth in my career as a social worker in the mental health field through case management, foster care, and treatment facilities. I have a sincere interest in creating positive social change through government policy, emphasizing youth, education, and mental health. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Fessler?
Good evening. My name is Ed Fessler. I was a 39-year employee with the district as a teacher and dean of students. During that tenure, I was a coach, as I say, I was a teacher, I was a mentor, and then the dean of students. During that time, I worked on curriculum development, I worked on policy advisory for the district. I was elected by the teachers to represent them in all issues dealing with the administration. I lobbied the legislature during critical times for both our own educational system in town and the educators of the state. As dean of students, my services were intended to help students with their post-secondary plans. As such, my office went through over $40 million during the 10 years I was in that office for student aid for students. In addition, I oversaw the advanced placement program. I administered the critical tests of the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT exams. Accolades that I garnered during my tenure was I was the teacher of the year and most inspirational at the high school. You know, we're a dynamic district that are just wonderful for the college track students. Our history supports that without any question. But when I talk to people of the trades, I've come to realize there's a significant shortage of viable, employable, skilled workers, okay? I believe that our district could improve and expand our course offerings, internships, certifications, partnership with Sheridan College, in areas like auto, technology, carpentry, electrical, and plumbing. All of these jobs are essential to maintaining a viable community, and they can all offer people a lucrative and positive life. It is my hope that during my tenure, if I'm elected to the board, that I can help take our district in that area while maintaining a great educational system that we currently have. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane Rader?
Hello. I was born in Sheridan. I went to school here. I've served on the board the last 4 years, running for re-election. I'm currently serving as the treasurer on the board. And I'm also currently serving as the Area 7 director on the Wyoming School Board Association board, which services Sheridan and Johnson County school districts. I work for Frontier Asset Management and bring a financial background to the board. But the best experience that I can bring is my hands-on experience while being on the board, which I fostered through visiting the schools, getting in our classrooms, seeing the work that our teachers and our staff do every day, learned about our professional learning community and how it helps our students. Additionally, being on the board has further just ignited my passion for education, and I want to continue to serve and represent the community by ensuring the school district provides a world-class K-12 education. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Schatz?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for sponsoring this event this evening and tell you a little about myself. I currently am serving on the board. I've been on the school board for 12 years, and it's been a wonderful time because I taught in the school district for 40 years prior to that. So I've had an inside and an outside view of the workings of our school district, and they're wonderful. I've raised my family here. We've had 6 children go through the school system, and every one of them have received a wonderful foundation to build on as they've gone on to school and gone to college, and they have gone to successful careers. I even have had one of my grandchildren attend the school system and graduated from the school system here. I want to let you know that I have experience helping form some of the foundations and the programs in the school district. As I had a master's degree in computers and education, I was focused on the technology part of our school district, and we have had a challenge meeting those technology demands in the last 6 months. And so, is this still working? Okay. And we've had a demand on our technology services for our students in the last 6 months. And so it's been great to see that we've been able to handle those. And I'm thankful that I've had a chance to serve and be of service to the community.
Thank you. Dana Wyatt?
Hello. Is that on? Oh, there it is. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Sheridan, and I am married to my husband, L.E. Wyatt, and together we have 6 daughters and 10 grandchildren. I'm running for the Sheridan School District 2 School Board because I believe that students are the district's greatest asset, and because of my credentials, I feel well equipped to see that they get the very best the district can provide. As a school board candidate for District 2, I'm running for office because I believe that schools are the backbone of a community and directly impact the future. Student success and school grades will continue to increase only if schools, teachers, administrators, and staff have the resources and support systems they need to provide a quality education. I believe that the school board must continue to evaluate district policies to ensure the policies align with not only state statutes, but reflect best practices and what the district is currently doing. I received my educational degree from the University of Wyoming and Montana State University. As a successful classroom teacher for 34 years at Sheridan County School District 2 schools, I've devoted my life to my students. In addition to classroom duties, I sponsored the national award-winning Kid Witness News program for 28 years. I also served 3 terms on Superintendent's Advisory Committee that afforded me experience in dealing with budgets and business management. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question for these candidates this evening: where do you see opportunities to decrease the cost of K-12 education to the state? Daniel Arnaud?
Thank you. So decreasing, is that what you said?
Yes. Where do you see opportunities to decrease the cost of K-12 education to the state?
So I think when we're talking about budget, it's always, really stressful. Just from tonight, sitting here and hearing about everybody's different budget problems, it really goes to show that that's definitely going to be something that's always on the forefront. I feel like when we are looking for money in different places, I think we really need to make sure that we're finding priorities in the community with the stakeholders and with everybody that's involved, and trying to get people to come on board and agree with what our goals and our priorities are. I feel like it's going to be pretty challenging, but I'm up for it.
Thank you. Ed Fessler?
I cannot tell you that I have an absolute answer to that question. We have an outstanding district in this community without question. We have wonderful K through 12 educators. The fact of the matter is, everyone has spoken of tonight. Our state faces this daunting times with the financial crisis of the loss of the mineral industry. I do not have a straightforward answer for you. I know that as a board member, I would need to work collaboratively with all stakeholders, with the board itself, with administration, to try to find any areas that we may be duplicating to some degree and try to streamline those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane Rader.
Well, first off, the most important thing will be to keep as many dollars as we can in the classrooms themselves. And from that point on, we need to continue to work with our great community partnerships that we have to keep some of our strong programs going.
Thank you. Wayne Schatz.
The state has offered our school districts, they offer a block grant, and in that block grant that allows us a little bit of freedom to work with the programs that we support and do in our district. And so it's very important that each of us become aware of the those programs in our district and the costs they have for our district. We all want to use our resources as the best we can. And so we've tried in our district to set some goals for us to follow, and those goals then would continue, and those goals will guide us as we look at programs for our school district. I want to I want you to know that I have worked with those programs on the other side of being as a teacher. And so some of those are very important that we have them funded properly. So we'll need to look at those very carefully and study them.
Thank you. Dana Wyatt.
Well, while all Wyoming schools are looking at budget cuts in the next couple of years, this means a direct 10 to 20% cut for Sheridan County School District 2. When you're looking at those types of cuts, it involves personnel and possibly program reductions. Every item will need to be looked at long and hard. It will mean scalpel-like precision to assure we keep the excellent education system that we have. All stakeholders should be allowed to voice their opinion on these hard choices, but also realize that the board will be looking at the big picture when these cuts are required.
Thank you. Craig Acord.
80% of our current budget is salaries right now. So you don't want to touch salaries. You want to keep programs. You want to keep the high quality instruction. So to help the state decrease the cost of K-12, I think you start looking at supplies and you start looking at facilities. Also, transportation is up there. Governor implemented a 20% cut 2 months ago, and we've already started that process with supplies. So, you know, I think there's room to help the state out, and I think it's doable. I think it's going to take a lot of work from our board to get that accomplished. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Our next question, what experience and knowledge do you have that makes you qualified over any other candidate? We'll start this question with Ed Fessler.
Well, first of all, I think anyone that puts themselves in the position to run for the Board of Education is an outstanding individual that is willing to donate their time for free, for gratis. I think the strongest thing that I bring to this is my experience. Again, 39 years in the classroom and as a quasi-administrator as the Dean of Students. I've worked in all aspects of the district, and I've worked with the board throughout the course of the years also in terms of things like budget for the salaries of teachers. Bottom line is, I think the experience that I bring through the career that I've had in this community would be very beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane Rader.
I think that I bring a diverse viewpoint to the board in that I'm working on, through partnerships and collaboration with some of our other districts in the county, doing some outreach through that involving them, seeing in particular what we can do and lend to the smaller districts to help them out and provide what we can, but also, you know, that helps them and us out in the budgetary sense. So really just forging those relationships as I have growing up in the county, knowing some of those other communities and working with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Schatz?
As a past educator, it's been fun to see the other side of the school district as a board member. And so one of the strengths that I have is to have that relationship with our staff, our teachers, and to be able to go into a classroom and see some of the exciting things that our teachers have done in the classroom, as well as working with our administration. We have a wonderful administration who looks ahead, plans, and sets goals for us, and to follow those. I, too, am a goal-setting person, and so I like to have those goals looking ahead so that I know what to do, where to go, and what direction to go. I think that all of those are strengths that a board member can bring to the school board.
Thank you. Dana Wyatt?
I have been invested in Sheridan County School District number 2 for over 50 years. I was born and raised in Sheridan. My daughters and I attended Sheridan County School District 2 school grades K through 12. As a successful classroom teacher of elementary, junior high, and high school for 40 years, I have direct insight to student and teacher needs. I also served 3 terms on the Sheridan County School District 2 Superintendent's Advisory Committee that afforded me experience in dealing with budgets and business management. I am a good listener, a hard worker, very collaborative, and a proactive problem solver.
Thank you. Craig Acord?
As I kind of mentioned in my opening remarks, I think my background in accounting really helps this school district move forward in these trying times. Also, I'm being the chair of the board right now, leading the search on the next superintendent. I think it's important to keep some continuity there, and so we can pick the right person for that job to continue to lead this district into the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Danielle Arnaud?
I think that I'm qualified for school board because I've always advocated for youth. Public education is very near and dear to my heart. I too have a teacher in here, and I probably owe an amends too for my crazy years. But my public administration degree, we studied everything public service, ethics, public policy, organization, research methods, human resource management. I feel like I really learned a lot about what it takes to be a public servant. I enjoyed my program, and I think that those things that I've learned are going to be helpful in this area. I also have a child in the district, and I feel like that has a little bit of an extra qualification because I really care about what does happen in our school system.
Thank you. Our next question this evening, funding is provided in a single block grant. What accountability do you see in how that funding is applied to meet the model? We'll start out this question with Shane Rader.
First off, I think in particular for our district, the block funding is very important in that we can more strategically use those funds to fund the programs and the institutional training that we need to really drive our students to be the best school district in Wyoming. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Schatz?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the funding from the state comes in a block grant, which has allowed us to do some creative things in our district. Not only have we implemented some programs through this, but we've had training for our staff. Our staff are trained in several areas that are above and beyond what we could do if we did not have the block grant and the freedom to do that. So once again, I think that the basket of goods that is given to us by the state has been helpful to us to guide us in those programs that we want to offer, but it also allows us to put a little extra into those programs to make sure that we have successful programs in Sheridan. And we've had that happen because we've seen the results of testing and the students that we have that have been successful as they've graduated from Sheridan school system.
Thank you. Dana Wyatt?
The first thing that a school board needs to do is to prioritize. With this grant money, there's all sorts of people that have their hand out, and rightly so. The programs in this district are amazing. And so to prioritize how many students would benefit from the grant money as opposed to, the few. So to prioritize to make sure that the programs that are valued the most, I think would be the best way to go.
Thank you. Craig Acord.
Can you repeat that question for me, please?
Sure. Funding is provided in a single block grant. What accountability do you see in how that funding is applied to meet the model?
Well, right now, we are in the top 5 for salaries. I think we need to continue that as far as instructional salaries. Our admin is at the bottom of the state. I know state representatives right now are looking at that basket of goods that Wayne mentioned. They're looking at travel and athletics. They're looking at several items in it, and so we need to come together as a community, as we did in the computer coding program. That's a K-14 initiative. It's in collaboration with Sheridan College. Whitney Benefits funded it, and it's leading to kids getting an associate's at 12th grade, and a bachelor's by their second year in college. So, long story short, we need to be prudent with the spending of those block grants monies. Thanks.
Thank you. Danielle Arnaud?
Thank you. Block grants are very important to public education. We've seen what a great job that the school board has been doing, so thank you for that. I often tell people that Wyoming has the best schools, and Woodland Park is the best rated in Wyoming, so I always tell people that my child goes to the best school in the United States of America. But I do have some concern about keeping, what our Wyoming Constitution says about ensuring public education being funded first, and I'd like to make sure that we keep that equitable funding, and looking at the basket of goods, like he had brought up too, is a very good point. So I think that I think we're doing a good job, and I think we need to continue that work.
Thank you. Ed Fessler?
When districts receive block granting, the money that is given to the districts is allowed to them to distinguish where they want it to go. Districts are able to prioritize what they feel are the most significant things that will benefit the students and their futures as adults. I think we have to be very cognizant of the fact that we're going through a recalibration period at this point in time. And the legislators are faced with a daunting task, to the point where when we were flush with money after the Campbell counties and COVID and Campbell counties and Washington County cases, we were able to do a lot of things. We're going to have to come back and reevaluate every single one of those programs and where those dollars will be spent. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question this evening: what are your what are your top qualities you'll be searching for in the next superintendent? We'll start this question out with Wayne Schatz.
As we begin the search, we have taken this very seriously as a board. We've discussed it at length, and we know that we want to have someone who will continue the programs and the successful programs that we have in our district. That's a very important aspect of a person coming in as superintendent. We've also listed several other items, such as being a leader, being innovative. Our district has been at the forefront of programs and offerings for our staff training and other things, and so we'd like to make sure that those things are continued so that our staff will continue to be the most trained and be leaders in our education world in the state of Wyoming. We also are searching for a person who will be able to look at the budget and be financing.
Thank you. Dana Wyatt?
Certainly to keep and to look for a required superintendent, we want the person to keep the district, one of the top districts in Wyoming. We want to keep that going. You know, when I think about a leader, I think about a person who communicates well, who is truthful, who is transparent, a person who can make tough decisions and yet have empathy, and certainly one who understands budget. And I think a person also needs to have a good personality that can get along with everybody.
Thank you. Craig Acord?
Some of the top qualities we're looking at for the next superintendent would be a good leader, willing to get their hands dirty, experience with PLC, experience teaching, not someone that's going to come into that office and sit behind their desk, somebody that's going to lead by example, and to continue our trends at the top of the state. We don't want to lose that, and I think all the people up on stage here with me would agree with that. We're the best in the state, and we want to stay that way. So that would be qualities. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Daniel Arnaud?
I'd like to see a people person, too, with empathy. I think a lot of what everybody said, somebody who's truthful and a team player. I also like what Craig said about somebody who has been a teacher and worked on the front lines, somebody that can role model good leadership skills. I'd also like to see somebody in that position that believes in evidence-based research and programs that really engage the students. And I have a heart for mental health, and so I really want to see somebody in there that believes in, helping to get rid of the stigma that a lot of our low-income and marginalized students face. So pretty much a perfect person, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Fessler?
I would hope that the next superintendent of this district would first and foremost come in and evaluate the district that he or she is stepping into. I heard someone from the college board mention earlier, don't change it just for the change's sake. We have a very strong district, and I would hope the future superintendent would work well with the existing personnel. Having said that, I would want someone that is complete and openly transparent, someone that is willing to listen and to learn from all the constituents of the district. I would like to have someone that can maintain a very collaborative and positive work environment in the district, not try to lead by fear, and someone who is always focused on what is best for the benefits of our students and our faculty. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane Rader?
Qualities for the next superintendent that I'm looking for are those with a strong background in PLC to continue the work that the district is doing. Additionally, like Craig had mentioned, being a visible leader, being out in our schools, interacting with our teachers, our staff, as well as our students. They're going to be the face and the leader of the district. Additionally, looking for a leader that's going to hold our teachers accountable and continue to drive that work, as well as keep good relations with the teachers, work with them. We have a lot of good partnerships in place with teachers to get their input. So I'd like to see that continue with the new superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up this evening with closing comments. 2 minutes for closing comments, starting with Dana Wyatt.
First of all, thank you so much for hosting this. I know that reducing budgets, increasing class sizes, dealing with the pandemic, searching for a new superintendent, along with keeping the integrity of the classroom intact are going to be challenges to face, but I feel up to those challenges. It is my belief that every student has worth and deserves a chance for success. To meet the needs of the students effectively, administrators, teachers, and support staff must be encouraged, supported, coached, and acknowledged for a job well done. I strongly believe that we have tremendous teachers and staff working with our children. Education takes place in the classroom, and the board's efforts must focus on enhancing and enriching what goes on there. My 40-year career as a classroom teacher has provided me the insight to the effective and successful teaching methods for students' educational success. I am willing to devote the time and energy that this community deserves in fulfilling my duties as a member of this board.
Thank you. Craig Acord.
First, thanks for hosting. Much appreciate it. I think I will be able to help this district continue down the right path by implementing a conservative budget in the face of state budget cuts that are on the horizon. A good example of that, and I keep referring back to it, is that computer coding program. It's a private-public partnership. Whitney Benefits fund it between the Sheridan College and the school district. I think we can expand on that into the technical fields, tech ed, welding, HVAC, your hands workers of the community. I think successful programs can be implemented like that in collaboration with Sheridan College. With that being said, I'm Craig Acord, and I'm asking for your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Arnaud.
I, too, would like to thank the Chamber and the YO for hosting this event. I'd also like to thank my supporters that showed up in the crowd and my friends and family online. Hi, Mom. I'd also like to thank the teachers and the faculty for all their hard work in this past year. I believe that it was just outstanding the way that they handled the pandemic. As a mom of a first grader last year, I was blown away by the dedication and care that went into virtual learning. And I believe that they're still doing a good job with all of that, with the new guidelines. I'd like to add that I might not know every single issue regarding the school board at this time, but I am prepared and willing to work hard and learn new things. I am a team player, and I never know a stranger. I enjoy youth and care about making a difference in their lives. I've dedicated my entire professional and personal life to helping others. I'm a big advocate of voting, so get out there and vote. I am proud of my experiences and enthusiastic about my opportunity to contribute to the youth in our community as a member of school district number 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Fessler.
Thank you. Our community is truly blessed to have just a great K-12 system. It was a great system when I came here virtually 40 years ago, and it's even a better system at this point in time. It'd be my hope to be part of a board that can continue to attract and retain great educators and support staff. Our district must continue to place top-notch, well-educated contributors to our society. I would like to see that goal include both students that will do well in the trades and those that are on their collegiate tracks. Our community would only be enhanced should those former students opt to stay in our own community. My entire adult life has been to serve our community in the educational realm. If elected, I promise I will continue my efforts as an effective member of the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane Rader.
I'd like to also thank the Chamber and the WYO for hosting tonight. The school board will be facing challenges such as the shortfall in the state revenue that leaves the school foundation account underfunded in the near future. And there will be decisions to be made about cuts. We've already been making some of those decisions, but there'll be more to come. And I plan to continue to be receptive to the creative ideas of our staff down to the building level to help minimize the impact of those cuts, the cuts as they happen on the classrooms. I also will continue to work with our legislators to advocate for responsible school funding, because children and their education will remain the top priority. The school board will also have the essential duty of selecting our next district leader, which will be a vital transition over the next year, and I hope to be part of that. And then lastly, I'd just like to thank my wife, Keely, for her support in this re-election and her patience with our little guy, Declan, at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Schatz.
I too would like to thank those who've worked so hard to put this program on this evening, and it's been great to have this opportunity. I think one of the biggest challenges our district is going to have will be the funding, and we know that it's been mentioned earlier tonight. But I want you to know that one of the board goals will be to listen to our community and work with our community and strengthen those partnerships we have in the community and with Sheridan College, because we have both of those in place in our district. And so that's a great opportunity for our students to have the best program possible. We also have one of the best facilities and buildings in the state. We have wonderful buildings, and we have those individuals who've taken care of those buildings and made sure that we have all the technology in place, or the equipment or the supplies that we need to have in our district. So I too would like to say that we are, as a board, we need to be able to work with others and to make sure that we continue the programs that we have had in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, and please join me in thanking our candidates for Sheridan County School District number 2. On behalf of the Chamber and its Government Affairs Committee, I'd like to thank all of our candidates this evening. I'd also like to thank our volunteers, Peter Clark, Anna Bailey, Gail Simmons, our Chamber staff, Karen Myers and Nicole Pierce, and you, the audience. A special thanks is extended to Aaron, Verl, Mark, and the WYO Theater, and also thank Sheridan College for allowing us to use their podiums. Just an announcement really quickly. There will be a Dayton Candidate Forum on Wednesday, October 14th at 6 p.m. at the Tongue River Valley Community Center in Dayton, featuring candidates for Town of Dayton and Sheridan County School District number 1 Dayton boards. Please vote on or before November 3rd, and have a nice evening. Thank you.